This is certainly not over yet, but Donald Trump supporters know that they are doing much better than all the polls suggested that they would. So they're watching those remaining swing states that have not been called yet. Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin.
We've seen tear gas fired several times as they tried to disperse crowds, and they've actually split into several different groups moving around the downtown Charlotte area. For a while, they couldn't keep up with how many patients they were getting. The nightclub's only a block that way, the hospital 3 blocks that way.
They have made another line. They've got someone down on the ground over here right now. This is the tense situation that I was talking about, and anything could set it off in a moment.
It has been 72 hours since their escape, and last night another 21 prisoners at the juvenile detention facility behind me tried to do the same thing.
This water, I've seen snakes in it already, so I wouldn't go in there, but he went in there to get the wedding ring. Now they're saving the boat. You can see where the tornado came through, going all the way across, tearing through more homes. They want to know what he knew, when he knew it, and what he did about it. Lawmakers still want answers, and so do we. Can you and will you subpoena Governor Snyder if he doesn't appear here? The rain, instead of swirling like it was before, now just going straight sideways, and you can just hear the roar of the wind. Several hours of peaceful protests have spiraled out of control. You can see behind me there's trash cans on fire in the middle of the street. Plenty of windows from cars and businesses have been broken out. Police and riot gear have moved in multiple times to try and get a handle on all this chaos. This is all happening just blocks away from the inaugural parade. It was clear from the beginning this group of protesters, dressed in all black, most of their faces covered, was going to be different. They didn't want to be photographed, and the destruction escalated.
So they were saying, take the streets, take the streets. So I followed them on, and then they started flipping stuff over, knocking over trash cans, and then they started breaking windows and stuff.
Came down this way, and they cut through the park, and they came over this way. Next thing you know, I started hearing a lot of booms and explosions.
I was running. I thought I saw somebody coming, so I stopped and went like that, and it was a brick. It was a brick, and it was huge, and they smashed that window. I was out of there.
People were trapped inside the Starbucks as windows were smashed out. Their terrified faces tell the whole story. Riot police moved in, scattering the group. Nearly 30,000 law enforcement and security officers from across the country had been brought in to protect today's inaugural ceremonies. Until this point, they had a fairly easy job. Protesters had remained peaceful. Activist groups had organized to be at every security checkpoint with the goal of disrupting Trump supporters heading into the National Mall for the inauguration. This was a different group, and others worry they have ruined the message of the peaceful protesters.
Our resistance is resistance! Our resistance is resistance!
The group's numbers have only grown throughout the afternoon. It's unclear when and how all of this will finally be brought back under control. In Washington, I'm Todd Walker. Back to you.
Yesterday may have just been too soon, but today we actually saw people who were inside the club early Sunday morning come back to the scene today. They came back to pay their respects, to tell their stories, and to let people know that while this was an attack on the LGBT community, everyone here is suffering. More than a day after Orlando's nightclub attack shocked the world, the impact of what happened is becoming real.
I'm still seeing people run. I'm still seeing, people try to hop over the fence, crawl under little holes, just trying to find a way to get out.
Marcus Godden was inside Pulse nightclub early Sunday morning when Omar Mateen came in and started shooting.
It's just terrifying.
He says he dropped to the ground and played dead until Mateen went into another room. That's when Godden was able to escape.
I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be with the other 50.
Those other 50, the ones who weren't able to escape with their lives. Names like Kimberly, Peter, Eric, Eddie, Mercedes, Amanda, and so many more. Some of them died quickly, others held hostage in an unimaginable scene for hours. Rodney Sumter was bartending Sunday morning and was shot within the first few seconds.
He believes that in that short time frame, he must have been like the 30th person to actually have been shot.
He is in the hospital with 3 gunshot wounds in his arm. His friend making sure people know the stories of what happened that night because he says it can't be forgotten.
It is heartbreaking. It does resonate with you. It does hit you in a way that you just can't understand without seeing it.
All the bodies have finally been removed from inside of the nightclub. There are still several people in the hospital right now in very grave condition. So while the death toll still stands at 49, it could easily rise from there.
Hey guys, you know, the protesters have kind of scattered a little bit because this line of sheriff's deputies moved in as soon as they started chanting and walking down the street, although we might be seeing them reassembling a bit. We've got some more activity over here. Someone just left the courthouse right now. So this is still very fluid situation. Officers are moving in. They're taking somebody down right now. There's a big commotion happening right now. We are not sure what's... We've got a lot of confrontation happening right now. Officers fighting. People, guys, stay with us. This is happening live right now. Law enforcement moving in. Isaac, I'm going to bring you back with me here. Law enforcement trying to get a control of the situation right now. Guys, if you can still hear me, they have made another line. They've got someone down on the ground over here right now. This is the tense situation that I was talking about, and anything could set it off in a moment. We're not sure what started that. We got one person on the ground here. Law enforcement's moved in. We've already seen one arrest this afternoon. Before you guys, the sheriff's deputies are moving us back right now. Moving us back right now. We're not... Guys, if you're still with us, sheriff's deputies just kind of bum rushed us here. They've established the same line that they had before. This was the line that they had established before the fight broke out across the street. We're not sure what sparked any of this.
It's back to work and back to normal life for much of the Northeast, and a lot of the metro areas didn't get a ton of snow, but there are places that have a lot of digging out still to do.
It's treacherous out here. They predicted it perfectly.
We came to Hudson, New York because it's one of the few places that got the 2 feet of snow that was promised. It's an honor most aren't that thrilled about.
Terrible. Too much snow for a small town.
Charlie Webster is responsible for clearing the sidewalks in tiny Hudson. He's had quite the job, as have his neighbors, who struggled to get their cars dug out and needed a bit of a hand. New York City, Boston, and Philadelphia, for the most part, were spared the brunt of this storm. But rural Pennsylvania was also buried.
One hell of a blizzard, that's for sure.
It really is.
I was excited when I went to bed for it last night, but kind of regretting it now.
Few areas did get hit hard, but the National Weather Service admitted it did know the storm wasn't going to be as bad as expected, but decided not to back off the forecast so they wouldn't confuse people. Back in Hudson, there was no confusing it. People are over this latest blast of winter. The guy responsible for the sidewalks, especially.
Terrible. I hate it. I'm moving south. I'm retiring this year. I'm moving south.
And of course, as soon as they're done digging out from this, snow is in the forecast again for Saturday. For the Now, I'm Todd Walker in Hudson, New York.
Any questions at all about safety?
In a time when split-second decisions by police are being scrutinized more than ever, the Denver Police Department has rolled out a tool they hope will help their officers make those decisions better, especially when it comes to de-escalating a volatile situation.
This is not just about shoot situations, it's also about don't shoot situations.
It is a nearly 360-degree simulator. Denver is the first large department in the country to use the technology, which allows officers going through the training to give commands to hostage takers, active shooters, or even mental health patients to try and de-escalate the situation or decide when it's time to use their weapon.
By increasing the amount of experiential training, we hope to develop, and we will develop, critical thinkers who are better equipped to make split-second decisions in rapidly evolving situations.
To see how it works and how stressful these situations can be, Denver police let me give it a try.
You gotta help me!
The first scenario, a frantic woman says her husband is threatening their baby down the road. I have a gun, but the man isn't showing a weapon himself, but he is threatening the baby. The simulator lets me talk to the man. You can trust me. Just put the baby down and let's talk about this. My trainer has plenty of options for how to make the man respond to my commands, and after several minutes, the man finally does surrender. I never had to raise my gun.
When you start asking him questions, he has to have a dialogue with you, and it gets him out of where he's at, and it slows things down. So the more you did that, the better things got.
The next scenario is a school shooting. The simulator is designed so teams of officers can go through at once. By myself, I have to watch all around me for multiple shooters and then de-escalate another hostage situation.
You could put the gun off to the side and you could say, look, I'm not even pointing my gun at you. My gun's off to the side. Why don't you? And that's what you did. Why don't you do the same thing?
It's new training everyone hopes will make a difference. For the Now, I'm Todd Walker.
Well, you know, that would be the purpose, right?
On a day when you're supposed to remember what you're thankful for, there are about 10,000 of you.
You don't have to worry about it.
You should be thankful that your dinner is even served tonight.
We can put it in the garage.
Good luck there with that.
These people
And you should be good to go.
likely saved it.
We just are here to talk you off the turkey ledge. Just come on back down. We got you.
This is the Butterball Turkey Talk Line.
You have it wrapped in foil.
Put them behind the turkey's head.
We'll take them through everything that we can possibly do to save Thanksgiving.
Oh, well, at that point, yeah.
For 35 years, the call takers have been saving Thanksgiving dinner from coast to coast.
And they'll put you on speakerphone, and you'll be in the dining room, or you'll be in the kitchen, and they're all screaming at each other, or the dog's barking, or like you really feel like you're a family member.
We all work an 8 or 10 hour shift on Thanksgiving Day alone.
We actually opened at 6 in the morning, and before we got here, there were calls waiting for us to take.
Yep, it's just nice and easy.
The turkey troubles range from the simple.
So what you do, you take it out of the bag.
Some people are in a panic. They have forgotten to start the thawing process. It can be a lengthy time.
Last year I had a caller from Hawaii.
And the not so simple.
He put it out in the Pacific, and when he tethered it and whatever, when he came back, gone.
Really? 15-year-old turkey? No.
It's too late.
And then the ones that make working on this day
What about Turkey Talk Line may help you?
worth it.
This year I took a call from a 91-year-old man that had never cooked a turkey before. His wife had passed away this year, and he was cooking it for the first time, so it took him through that process from start to finish.
And that is something to be thankful for.
Well, happy Thanksgiving to you.
For the Now,
Yep, we're working all day today.
I'm Todd Walker in Naperville, Illinois.
Thank you. Bye-bye.